Alright guys, so someone asked me a question the other day that I make a video on steps to take if you're trying to dive into mobile development. So here's the video. It's a bit long. I made a video both on YouTube, Facebook. So let's just dive into it. It's a new year. Now, the number one step you're gonna do is picking a path or picking a programming language and framework. And as you all know, for the two major programming language being used on mobile development on the two major operating systems, which is Android and iOS, is Java and Kotlin for Android, Objective-C and Swift for iOS. And then we also have cross multi-platform frameworks and languages where we have Flutter framework with the language that, and then we have React Native that run multi-platform applications. So now that you're choosing a language and framework you'll be using, the next thing you have to do is to choose a learning path. So now you're on the second part of your mobile development journey. You've already chosen a path, the programming language and framework. So now is your choose a learning platform you're going to be using. So they're both free and paid platforms you can use on mobile development. For example, let's choose Flutter. There are about 800 to 10,000 courses on Flutter on Udemy, Coursera, and Audacity, even on YouTube. So Audacity, Coursera, and so some of them are free. Most of them are free, paid, that you can get for about $9 to $20. But if you are choosing a very common framework or niche, for example, let's say Flutter or React Native, you can see free code courses on Free Code Camp, either on their website or on YouTube. You can also see other tutorials on it. So now let's dive into the third part, which is very important. Is set up your environment for your coding. Now, if you're choosing core Android apps that you'll be using Java or Kotlin, that means you have to be using Android Studio. I will set up Android Studio. It's both compatible for Windows and iOS and Mac OS. Sorry. Then, if you are diving into iOS app development, you have to use Xcode, which is a predefined code editor made by Apple for Apple apps, iOS, Mac OS, and other applications. Now, mind you, before installing Xcode, you have to know that you must have a MacBook to run Xcode swiftly. Then, if you are running on a multi-platform or cross-platform development, mobile development, then you have to make use of code editors like VS Code, or use Notepad, any one of your choice. You can just choose randomly. You can also use Visual Studio, but make sure you have to install the plugins and the language on it. Then, mind you, the least required spec for running of mobile development is an 8 gig RAM PC, 256 gig SSD drive, and probably Core i5 8 to 11 generation. That's the least requirement. But to run Android and iOS apps simultaneously on one code editor swiftly with the emulators, you be preferable to have an 16 gig RAM PC. So now let's move to the fourth stage. Fourth and one of the most important parts of your tech journey, which is learning and also building. So you're already enrolled on a tech platform where you learn either on YouTube or Audacity, any platform of your choice. So now you want to make sure you're building something as little as calculator apps, web apps like weather applications, some kind of games that have to do with logic. You have to make sure you have to build something, portfolio, whatever you just want to do. Make sure you build, and as you build a pro tip, make sure you join communities on LinkedIn, WhatsApp, Telegram, Facebook. Just make sure you have to build, share, and also learn as you grow. So this is one of the most important parts, because many developers, after enrolling on courses and also watching so many tutorials, they also fail to know that they have to build some things. As little as a calculator have added to your portfolio is something in the dev space. It helps other developers know that you are growing and that you are ready to grow. So then we are moving to the final and one of the most important part that you always have to be as a developer, which is the fifth part of it, that has to do with launching and rebuilding. So launching and building has to do with compiling all that sub parts of your application. Let's say for example you want to build a social media application like Facebook that has to do a lot of APIs, a lot of so many sub app of softwares of it. For example, the messaging part of it, the on part of it, different pages combined together to make up a full application. Then you launch it on either Apple Store or Play Store. These helps other developers know that, oh, this person just got a milestone in developers world and is ready to build and also grow with us. Now this isn't the final stage as a developer. Yes, this helps to create a solid foundation for you, but what makes it more unique is when you update the application, and while you update you make sure that you give a little twist of design to it, a little change. So remember, while you were learning your mobile development, you had core knowledge or you grew core knowledge on UI UX design, APIs, then databases, local storage, hardware facilities like Bluetooth, Wi-Fi router, your USB ports and other ports that has to do with connectivity and communication. So now you have to make sure that each update you make, you secure your app, you make it easier for others to understand, you make it easier for others to grow. So thanks for watching. I'll be starting my new program. I'll be sharing tech tips. So I'm Martin, by name Martin. See you next time.